Rummix here, back with another video. If you're not new here, then you already know what to do. Just drop a like, maybe a comment, maybe some suggestions for future parts, you know, the regular. And if you are new here, well, you could hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. If you don't like the what ifs, then maybe you can unsubscribe, but maybe just give it a chance. With that being said, a lot of maybes. Like, share the video to a friend like this, or just anime content in general, and we can now get into the contents of this video. With that being said, a quick recap. So in the last part, I guess you could say, gave you guys the question, Naruto versus Kakashi. And the answer, it's a little, well, the right word would be jaded, you could say. It's not one-sided, if you don't know what jaded means. So, for example, it's not outright that, for example, I know a lot of for examples, that Kakashi will win. It's not outright that Naruto will win. But I think you guys can come to a consensus within this video, right? And I want to make this clear, even if Naruto does grab them bells, it does not mean that he's clearly stronger than Kakashi. I just want to make that known, right? Anyhow, let's go over a few things Naruto has before we fully start this video. I do not know if I addressed this in the last part, as that video was actually recorded on November 14th. I lost my recording device, which is my phone, for a week or so I didn't have it for a long time. The weekend passed, yeah, yada, yada, yada. So I don't actually remember if I said this in the what if, and my apologies, but I'll say it now. And if you've already heard this, then it's whatever. But Naruto is the 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Just like Kakashi, he does have access to his 9 Tails chakra. For the sake of this, I'll say he has about 3 Tails mastered so far. With that being said, he also does have his Senju and Uchiha DNA, so he has increased chakra reserves way more than in canon. Actually, this Naruto might have more chakra than the 9 Tails itself. I said maybe, so, you know, maybe. With that being said, not only that, but possibly a Rinnegan awakening in the future, right? Since he has that Senju and Uchiha DNA, he also heals much faster due to his Uzumaki and Senju DNA fusing further, and that kind of thing. With that being said, he also does have most of the 5 chakra natures mastered. He has 3 of them mastered: fire release, wind release, and water release. He needs earth release to get wood style, but yeah, we'll see where that goes. With that being said, that's about what Naruto has, and we know the basis of what Kakashi has. Yeah, we can now begin the what if. So, in the last part, we directly ended off with the bell test, and that's what we'll directly pick up. Now, as for introductions, we'll say that they go basically the same, but Naruto says nothing. Like, he completely says nothing. Like, nothing at all. He kind of doesn't really want to and feels there's no need to. If it's just people who he'll be with for, you know, not much time at all, at least in theory, right? So, with that being said, he would not say anything. Now, the bell test would be explained, the rules that is, as they would begin. Naruto would immediately rush forth, clashing with Kakashi, kunai to kunai. Naruto would then bring his foot upwards, as Kakashi would look at his foot, tracing it with his eye. Naruto would quickly move his foot in different directions, as to catch Kakashi off guard, as while Kakashi was focused on his foot, he would kick with his left foot. If you didn't understand that, he's been moving his right foot around, but he's in theory, or actually, in actuality, I should say, kicking with his left foot. With that being said, we would then see Naruto rush towards a Kakashi who's been flying midair. Naruto used most of his force in that kick, so he wasn't holding back. Kakashi now knew a taste of Naruto's fury. Naruto would then appear behind Kakashi, stopping him with his hand outwards. For example, if you want to picture this in your head, Naruto had his left hand outward, and basically Kakashi's back was on his hand, I want to say, but not directly on it, like under it. No, like behind it, I should say, as Naruto would stop Kakashi, as he would then grab Kakashi's clothing, throwing him up into the air. He would then quickly create signs or hand signs, whatever you want to call them, for a fireball jutsu. He would then send this fireball jutsu towards Kakashi, as this fireball jutsu would only send Kakashi flying further up into the air. His clothes now on fire, as the wind around him would only make it worse. As you may know, or as you may not know, when fire and wind/oxygen mix, fire only, increases in velocity or in fearsomeness. With that being said, Kakashi would quickly take off his Jonin vest, as he would now have nothing on that was burning. Naruto would now appear in front of Kakashi, as this time he would still create the same signs, adding 2 more hand signs. This time he would yell out a different form of Fireball Jutsu. Fireball Jutsu, or I should say, Uchiha style Fireball Jutsu. With that being said, this attack would hit Kakashi, as Kakashi would realize something. Those hand signs, they were just like the hand signs that his teammate, Obito Uchiha, who wasn't Uchiha himself, used to use. And even though, he had the Fireball Jutsu, Obito's Fireball was always stronger, because he had the Uchiha-style Fireball Jutsu, something that only Uchihas can use, which was weird to Kakashi. Kakashi also does know who Naruto is. I hope that is apparent. Even though Naruto came in as an orphan, Kakashi knows who he is. It's his sensei's son. He was supposed to be a bodyguard there. Yada, yada, yada. With that being said, Naruto would continue his onslaught, and due to the fact that he was able to catch Kakashi off guard, he would be able to land another blow while Kakashi was on the ground, jabbing him straight to the gut with a punch. He would then do 2 backflips, flying backwards, as he would then stand still. Kakashi now stood in front of him. Sasuke and Sakura just watched from the sidelines in awe. How could their same, I guess you could say, I don't know how to word this specifically, but so that you guys get an understanding of what they're talking about, how could their Genin teammate, who should be on the exact same level as them, compete with their Jonin leader? It really made no sense. Maybe get close to getting the bells, sure, but even then, that would take a prodigy. Getting there and actually not even going for the bells, but actually, pushing Kakashi around, you could say, is even more of a feat. Naruto would then look over at the people who were his quote-unquote teammates. Madara taught Naruto many things. One of these things was teamwork. He was taught to, rely on teamwork in some cases. But Naruto being alone for most of his life, I don't mean like alone like he had nobody, because he had Madara and people like Obito, but I mean alone as in being a lone wolf for most of his missions, things like that. He really didn't see the importance in teamwork, but as to keep Madara's dreams, ambitions, goals, words even, alive, he would do so. As he would at least try. I don't want to say do so, but yeah. With that being said, he would look over at his teammates, Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. Naruto would squint his eyes. Do you have a Sharingan yet? From what I can see, you might have a one, Tomoe. Why so low? Sasuke would immediately appear beside Naruto. Why so low? Well, look at you. You don't look like you have the 3 Tomoe. Or 2 Tomoe. If you did, you'd come rushing in immediately. Way before I had. Actually, if you had such a level of the Sharingan, even though there's a Jonin in front of you, such as Kakashi, who's known throughout the 5 great nations, or nations, I should say, as the copy ninja, you would still rush in head first to fight him, as to further evolve your Sharingan. But clearly, either you don't have the Sharingan at all, or you only have the 1 Tomoe. At this point, it's not actually clear on what Sasuke has, as we don't really see it that often. But we'll say for the sake of this specific what-if, that Sasuke has the 1 Tomoe Sharingan. Sasuke would peak with his 1 Tomoe Sharingan activating him as he gritted his teeth. With that being said, Sakura would look at Sasuke, as she had never seen this before, and Sasuke would stand up immediately, as at this point he had actually been sitting down. He would then rush towards Kakashi, as Kakashi would be a little dazed from that last gut punch from Naruto, just starting to recover. Naruto would then quickly slap Kakashi in the face, but to Kakashi, it just seemed like Naruto gliding past him, but both of his eyes did hurt a little, and they were a little blurry. So, as Sasuke rushed in front of him, it actually seemed to be like it was Naruto in front of him. So, Kakashi was not going to hold back on his attack. He would then send a punch flying towards Sasuke, as Sasuke would be hit with this punch. This punch would immediately knock out Sasuke, as just as easily as it knocked him out, it would wake him up again. The pain was that devastating. Sasuke would then be sent flying into a tree. As mid-flight into the tree, he would pass out again, but upon impact, his eyes would start to awake, I should say. Not as if they're, evolving or anything like that, but what I mean is they were starting to open, by awake, that is. With that being said, Sasuke would stand up, gritting his teeth even further. This time, all of his teeth would be revealed, even his gums. That was how angry Sasuke was in this moment. He would then rush forward, trying to attack his sensei, Kakashi, or I should say future sensei, Kakashi, as I don't want to say they're exactly sensei and student right now, since they're technically fighting, but it is what it is. I think you guys get what I'm saying. With that being said, Sasuke would charge in yet again towards Kakashi, as Naruto would grab both Kakashi's blow and Sasuke's blow. Naruto would then look into the eyes of Kakashi and Sasuke at the same time. Sasuke Uchiha, was it? I think that was your name you said in the introductions. I wasn't really paying attention. I only cared for your heritage. You being an Uchiha, I really did think you were something. But there's no need for another Uchiha. Another? Are you saying that our sensei is an Uchiha? Well, you're not very far off, but I'm actually saying that I'm an Uchiha. What? Kakashi thought to himself. An Uchiha? Well, that does add further clarification to my theory. That he might have been taught by an Uchiha to know that distinct fireball. But even so, how interesting. Is Minato or Kushina not his real mother or father? No, but he has their distinct blonde hair. Or at least Minato's. And Kushina had red hair. No way. Interesting, Kakashi thought. He was at a loss of words and did not know what to really say. As Naruto would continue, Naruto would activate his Sharingan, showing off his 3 Tomoe Sharingan to Sasuke. You see, this is the power of a true Uchiha. I really thought that you would be much stronger, but you're not. Sasuke would immediately pull away from Naruto, as if you were not paying attention to the real situation with the fighting. Maybe you were just paying attention to the plot, so he won't, at you. But basically, Naruto just caught Sasuke's fist, and he was kind of clenching onto it, and Sasuke just pulled away, if that makes sense. With that being said, Sasuke would then try to attack Kakashi yet again, but Naruto would pull in front of him, using a genjutsu on Sasuke, which would knock him out. He would then grab Sasuke's arm, which was still flying, and if it made contact with Kakashi, it may have just broke because of Kakashi's tough chakra armor, as at this point, Kakashi actually does have chakra around him, since he was prepared for a fight with Naruto and not actually Sasuke. With that being said, Naruto would quickly twist Sasuke's arm, which would immediately cause Sasuke to awake. Sasuke really felt like throwing up. He kept getting knocked out and, reawakened, and then knocked out and reawakened. It really was giving him a headache and really made him want to puke, as he would. Naruto would laugh. You puke just from being knocked out and reawoken? I see. I think I know your limit, Uchiha Sasuke. Naruto would quickly chop Sasuke on the back of his neck, as he would then put Sasuke on his back. Kakashi, would you like to continue our fight? Sure thing. Show me what you've got, Naruto. Kakashi would then pull up a mud wall as Naruto would quickly kick this mud wall. It was in response to what Kakashi already saw coming, a kick from Naruto. Naruto would immediately kick through this mud wall as an abundance of rocks, if you will, would be scattered around the battlefield. Naruto would quickly catch up to all these rocks, throwing them towards Kakashi, as well as kicking them, punching them, things of that sort, where all these rocks were basically flying towards Kakashi, who would be able to, dodge, block, and even just break outright. With that being said, Kakashi would then get ready to use his final attack. He wanted to display his true power to Naruto, so Naruto knew who the sensei of the group was, who the top dog is, if you will. With that being said, he would release his lightning blade / Chidori, whatever you want to give the name of the jutsu. With that being said, he would rush towards Naruto, as Naruto would smirk. Well, Kakashi, I didn't really think I'd have to use him, but I will. Use him, Kakashi thought to himself. What in the hell does he mean by that? Use him? Does he control puppets or something? Come closer, Kakashi. Naruto would then pull out Sasuke. What do I mean by this? He has had Sasuke on his back for about 2 minutes now, and he's basically pulling Sasuke out in front of him and using him as a shield. Naruto would then push lightning chakra out from both of his fingers, which would just serve to put lightning chakra around Sasuke. Sasuke having an innate, I don't know what you want me to call it, but I want to call it something that you guys, the viewer, can really understand it vividly. Having an innate, I guess you could say, connection to lightning style would actually be able to withstand these bolts of electricity flying around him, and it wouldn't really hurt him, similar to how he can hold a Chidori. But the only reason why I'm mentioning this, because it should be normal if you already have lightning style. Sasuke doesn't already have it, but because of his innate, I guess you'd say, affinity towards lightning style, it doesn't actually hurt him, even though he doesn't have lightning style yet. Anyhow, Naruto would then do so, as Kakashi would make contact with the lightning, as he would basically just try to clash with the lightning and not actually try to hurt Sasuke. But unfortunately for Sasuke, this lightning blade had already done its deal of damage. It had easily broken through the lightning that Naruto had put up, which had actually shocked Naruto a little, and it had pierced just a little bit into Sasuke, breaking through his first layer of clothing. Sasuke would wake up in a situation he had never been in before. He looked around. Where was he? He thought. What was happening? He also thought. What the hell? Sasuke would immediately fall to the ground. On his knees, in fact. He had an emotional breakdown. Let me explain. Sasuke already dealt with the Uchiha massacre. That puts a lot of strain on Sasuke Uchiha himself. His goal is to fight Itachi. We already know that a 12-year-old Sasuke thought that he was strong enough to fight a Itachi, right? But, of course, he's not even close. Now, Itachi is clearly above Kakashi, and Sasuke knows that himself. And if Kakashi is about relative to Naruto, so basically even, and Naruto is easily able to beat Sasuke, as well as Kakashi being able to do the same thing, then how weak truly is he? Naruto's remarks about puking just from being knocked out and waking up over and over again only further cemented in his head that he was too weak to fight his older brother, too weak to avenge his clan. Slowly but surely his eyes would start to move, moving faster and faster as time passed, as they would evolve into the two Tomoe Sharingan. Rage filled his eyes, and with hate he would stare up at Naruto. Naruto's gaze was just as strong, canceling out Sasuke's. Kakashi would jump back. The tension in the air was so high. He would then look at what was happening as he looked at both of their eyes. They were both filled with fury and rage, anger and destruction. Kakashi wondered what type of childhoods both of these kids had, what they witnessed in their lives. Of course, he knew well, I should say more about Sasuke, as Sasuke, well, went through the Uchiha massacres, many people knew. But about Naruto, he knew barely anything. With that being said, he would watch as Sakura would immediately come rushing in to attack Kakashi. This was because she felt the emotion, and it almost seemed as if Sasuke was about to cry, and she didn't want her, well, let's just say, crush to cry and be angry, that kind of thing. And with that being said, Kakashi had seen enough. Clearly, they were a strong enough team, and they had technically just shown teamwork. So there was no reason not to pass them, and they would be passed. And just so you guys know, this entire fight, at least the fight between Naruto and Kakashi, Naruto was holding back for the most part. Only a few times did he show his true power, and it was just so that Kakashi knew that he wasn't going to completely follow his orders, and that at times he may even challenge them. With that being said, the bell test would end, and you could say that everybody would go home, except for Naruto. Naruto, rather than, quote-unquote, going home, since he doesn't have a home, would just sit around, thinking about his next move. With that being said, he would quickly use the body flicker technique to both get out of the leaf and to appear at the side of Obito Uchiha. Or I guess Uchiha Obito, if that's how you swing. With that being said, Naruto and Obito would have a conversation. Obito would start the conversation, as he would say, "Naruto, how were Madara's teachings?" And with that being said, this is where I'm going to end the part. This has been part 2 of what if Naruto raised, or I guess you could call it, what if Madara was Naruto's son? Oh my gosh, I just butchered that so badly. I don't know. I don't even know, man. It's pretty late where I live. It's about like 4 in the morning. I'm about to go to bed. But, what if Madara, or what if Naruto's Madara's son? So many mistakes. With that being said, this has been Rami X and Rami X.